Happy Tuesday, y'all. So we are back with Unlocked, and the past 2 weeks have been our Prison Diaries series, which has been an emotional freaking roller coaster. So you're welcome. I'm just going to apologize now for taking you through that, because I have had so many people call me and they're like, Savannah, I was in tears. I was sobbing. But it made a lot of people feel good because it gave them insight as to what was going on, how mom's doing, all those things. So in true Savannah fashion, why not keep the emotional roller coaster going? And so on today's episode, we have Chad back.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. So y'all, every time, so on social media, like
I've
it doesn't.
From the dead.
Yes, you have. You really have. Because y'all, he was dead. I've done buried him,
Gone.
all of it. He's gone. And vice versa. But anytime I post a photo of like me and any friend, it doesn't matter who it is, me and Tyler, me and whoever, everybody's like, where's Chad? Where's Chad? What happened? What happened? And well,
They did it to my stuff too, just so y'all know.
Yeah, I see people all the time. Where's Savannah? Where's Savannah?
Right. What's happening? People inbox me all the time. What happened? What happened? I just didn't entertain any of it.
So, and I feel like, well, first off, too, so much time has passed, first off. And Chad and I've already talked a little bit about what has kind of happened.
Right.
But at the same time, so much time has passed that I feel like it's just gotten to a point where it's like, what even happened?
Right.
And so we wanted to kind of talk through it, because also too, if we're going through this, I know other people are going through like losing a friendship or wanting to repair a friendship, not knowing how to do so. And I don't know, I think it's just like a healthy setting to do it.
Yeah, perfect.
Chad,
And we know y'all got questions, so we trying to give y'all some answers so y'all will leave us alone on the socials. I'm just kidding.
And too, with Chad being here, we also have Aaron, because we have to have like a little moderator, you know?
Right, because you never know with me.
Lord knows y'all need it.
Yeah. Well, we can get a little
saucy.
Y'all can say some stuff you can't take back.
Yeah.
It's kind of y'all's thing.
Yeah. I think so.
A little more similar than y'all remember sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do I get to say my rules now? Because I got rules. I'm a real moderator today.
Okay. Let's hear them.
I'm like debate style. Okay. This is going to probably be emotional convo at some points. Maybe y'all are both too hardened to have any emotions at this point. I really don't know. But if there is, because it could be emotional, y'all cannot interrupt each other. Even if someone's saying something, you're like, that's not how I saw it. That was not my reality. You got to let them finish, because y'all are going to start pissing each other off. That's the first one. The second one is that the only thing that's really on the table is y'all. And if other people came into it because they affected y'all's relationship, then just keep it about y'all.
Yeah.
So like, obviously your parents are going to come up, Savannah. There may be some people involved, but like not about what happened as it relates to them, but just how it affected y'all. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a very first question, then I'm going to let y'all take it, but I may like interject and just stop you if y'all are getting off track.
Okay.
Start with
nervous.
how you...
I'm not gonna have a fingernail left after
Y'all
this.
got one of the bells to ring, ding, ding, ding.
Savannah, you're probably gonna be in a presidential debate in 2028, so you got to get ready.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take it.
Start with how you guys became friends.
Do you remember?
No.
How we first met?
No.
I do. So I had been cutting Todd and Grayson's hair. I just started cutting their hair, and just so everybody knows, before I was actually on the show, we were friends for a longer time, even before I was very first on the show. So people always thought when I first came on the show, that's when we first became friends. But we've been friends for a really long time.
A long time.
Like 6-7 years, or maybe longer. I can't remember.
I mean, heck, I'm about
I
to be
got
20.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
I'm like 47. But anyway, I had met her once in the garage when I was cutting her dad's hair and her brother's hair. And then the second time she came back and I was cutting their hair again, or I came back, I was in their house and there was a mirror across. So I could see her in the mirror. And so she came up and she was like, hey, oh my God, so good to see you. And when she hugged me behind my back to her dad, she was like, who is this? And I was like, okay, this bitch does not remember who I am. So I was like, so I kind of called her out on it. And it kind of was how we started our friendship, because you know, we just kind of kept it real from kind of that moment
That
forward.
is
But
hilarious. I remember that now. Like, and y'all, I do that all the time. You
Yeah.
know, people
Yeah.
come up to me and hug me and be like, "Oh my God, so good to see you." And I'm like,
who is that?
like, I don't know who this is, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna pretend like I do because I feel so bad.
Yeah.
Stop. That is how we became friends.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
how
I
it
think just
started.
over the years, I mean,
Well, here's the thing. Your dad, I think, was really grateful that we were friends because
Yeah.
I'm a gay man. I'm not a threat to you, but I'm kind of not a gay man. I will fight somebody, you know, like,
is
not that
so
gay people
true.
don't fight, but I will throw down. I mean, I've been kicked in the head by like horses and bulls and shit on the rodeo team. So, I think he felt like I would be
I've always
protective of
said-
her, but I'm not a threat to her. You know what I mean?
But I've always said you're the straightest gay guy I know,
right.
like ever, that I've ever met in my entire life.
Right. And so I think that we became closer and closer because, you know, I think it was easy for you to see that I was trustworthy and I was, you know, loyal and I was a friend. And again, I think you felt safe with me. You were and I'm just the type of person where I want to help people. I want to protect people. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
So it just kind of worked out for us in our friendship.
Oh, for sure. And I think over the years too, it's like, I mean, heck, we went through a lot of shit together.
We went through a lot of stuff. I mean, even just us going on trips together could be a, you know, really long, like 6, 7 True Detective crime series, potentially.
100%, without a doubt. Like the stuff that we did, but also like through relationships and
Oh, yeah.
through like so much life stuff that happened that it's like you know me, I don't really have like friends.
Right.
Like friends that as Aaron laughs, because like friends that I do have are so close though that they're like family, you know, like I don't have like I don't know, like if I
think
invest time, you're family.
Yeah, I think that you have had friends in the past that have turned out to not be your friends or have hurt
Yeah.
you. So your friend group is very small
Yeah.
and very close knit.
100%. Without a doubt. So yeah, I guess that's kind of like over the years, our friendship.
And then
Yeah.
we were just together all the time. And then it just transpired from, you know, us being friends all the time to eventually us living together.
Yes.
Once your relation fell apart, my relationship fell apart. You're like, you're in that house by yourself. I'm in this house by myself. Let's move in together. I was like, all right, cool.
But also too, now that I look at it, that was kind of probably the worst decision ever because it was like trauma bonding.
Yeah, it was trauma bonding, and it really was because
Codependent,
it was super codependent, and then it was also just you know, there's a reason why people say, oh, we were best friends until we lived together, and then we didn't. Not that there was ever any drama or trauma with
Yeah.
us in the house. It was just a super serious codependency, and then with everything going on behind the scenes with your parents and stuff, I think we leaned on each other even a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it just became so intense that there was just no there weren't healthy boundaries or separation between our friendship. Not that we should have had it, but for certain scenarios you have to have
But
it.
you always have to have boundaries and you have to have
Your
like,
own space.
your non-negotiable things.
Yeah.
And your own space. Because people still, they're like, all right, well, what happened? Like they're listening to this and they're like, well, you're sitting here saying nothing happened, but something clearly happened. I think for me, where I went wrong was obviously I'm like, I don't have that many people in my life. So the people that I do have, like there are people that I'm like, all right, I can vent to. We've all gotten pissed off at someone or a friend or whatever it may be. And we vented. But like in my situation, hell, y'all, I don't care. I vented to family members and then they turned around and twisted things or made it sound like I said things in certain ways that I didn't.
Right.
And it caused drama. And instead of us, and I heard things from people, you heard things from people.
Right.
And instead of us coming to each other,
Right.
we were just like,
It just
screw
kept
this
going.
person.
It just kept going further apart.
Yeah.
And can I say this of why it became a separated situation in the first place?
Yeah.
Because I want to take accountability for myself. I am the type of person, you know this about me. I will do anything for people, even when they don't ask me to do it.
Yeah. I would get on to you all the time about
I
it.
know,
You remember?
even when they don't ask me. So I overdo stuff, and then I build up resentment when really I'm just mad at myself because nobody really even ever asked me for anything. But it's just who I am as a person, and I don't have healthy boundaries when it comes to that. I will take care of everybody but myself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happened with the situation. You know, once your parents went away, I wanted to be as helpful as I could, but I was also drowning emotionally and feeling like I didn't have a life, but I wasn't communicating it because I didn't want to add another problem to your life. So when Chloe got out of school, I thought, okay, I'm going to take a break and go away, but I don't think I handled it properly or communicated it properly. So when I did separate, you know, I'm sure you probably felt abandoned by me.
Oh, for sure.
You
because
know,
you got to keep in
because
mind.
I'd always been there, and the only person that you really truly could trust behind the scenes and just was there.
Oh, without a doubt. That was the toughest thing because I would never forget. I was in the pantry. I was cleaning out the pantry and you were like, hey, so I'm going to move out. And I was like, where the hell is this coming from? For you, it was built up. Mm-hmm. For me, it was like I had already lost. And where I went wrong was like, you know me, I don't deal with my emotions right off the bat. Like at all. I was kind of in that mom and dad left. All right, now I got to fix everything. So like, let's just keep moving forward.
Right.
Let's deal with what we have to deal with. I wasn't focused on my emotions at all.
Right. Neither
And
one of us
so-
were.
No.
Well, y'all
no.
didn't have room to be. Like, y'all were both in survival mode. Y'all both grew up a lot of your life in survival mode. So you're used to being on that setting of like cruise control. Got to get it done. Put your head down. Don't
Right.
worry about it. And then when either when the floodgates are open, someone says something that makes you sad, mad, or you have 1 second of like silence, like cleaning out. I mean, I know that you're talking about Chad moving out. But like if you were cleaning the pantry or doing something like that didn't require a lot of brain power.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, any kind of break, it's coming right back.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
And I think the hardest part was like you were there through all of it. Like all of it. So I always knew that like, all right, Chad's going to be there. And I really had no one. Like I love my family, but my family wasn't there for me.
Right.
Like they just weren't. Like Chase, my grandparents, no one. And so
And that could have been a little bit my fault too, because I was so there for you that they may have thought, well, they got this. I'm not saying one way or another, but for me to just kind of leave and in my mind think, well, her family's here, so they've got her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Regardless, I want to say that I didn't communicate throughout the process that I was not okay.
Yeah.
And then I just was in a survival flight mode of I've got to get out of here and take care of myself because I didn't communicate it properly to you, but I was overwhelmed mentally and emotionally because I wanted to be helpful to you,
yeah.
but I was drowning with everything. And again, not even stuff that you were asking me to do. I would even call you and be like, I'm going to go to Chloe today. I'm going to go do this. You wouldn't even call me to do stuff. I would just volunteer because that's just who I am.
Yeah.
And instead of just me pulling the reins back and trying to focus on myself, I thought you're doing so much because you're working on, the stuff with the attorneys and, just figuring out life things of
I just wasn't
finances and how
expecting to get, yeah.
Right. So I didn't want to add another stress, but I didn't realize when I left that would add another stress. And when I left, you're right. Like there were things that naturally you would vent to your family.
Yeah.
But they would call and tell me about it. And then it was super hurtful for me. So then when I feel like this is what happens, you know this about me.
Yeah.
Even in relationships, in any relationship romantically that I've been in, even with some of my family members, if I feel like it's going to be drama and there's going to be something that's going to happen and it's going to spiral out of control and it's going to cause a situation for there never to be a chance for me to be around this person again, I will cut ties and run. I will block, I will delete.
Yeah,
and that's
you
with
did that.
everything. Block, delete from social media. Because instead of me communicating and saying and maybe clarifying it, because it was people that were close to you, I felt like it was hurtful to me, but I should have communicated. I just think that we both, instead of communicating and handling it, we just kept listening to everybody else and kept getting further and further apart. And there was really no way for you to communicate with me because I had blocked you.
Yeah,
I had deleted you. But I do that. Let me tell y'all why I do this.
Also, y'all, look, I told y'all, I'm already
Busted
3
flat in
nails.
Baton Rouge.
I'm already nails down.
But here's the thing. In my mind, when I do that, I think get to a place where we fight nasty and we fight dirty and time can go by and we can let things settle, then we can come back around just like we are right now.
Yeah.
And we can get out of our own feelings, because when you are emotionally at such a level where I know how you can fight dirty and I know how I can fight dirty, it would have ended horrifically probably.
Oh, yeah,
and there would probably have never been a chance. We've actually never had a horrible fight, but I felt like it was around the corner if I didn't do something drastic. That's why I deleted and blocked and I disappeared, and that's what I do, and it's not healthy, and I know that, and I gotta work on that shit, okay? So don't be blowing me up in my inbox, but unless you're a therapist. But I knew that I needed to do something to protect myself. And in the long run, I thought, well, I'm protecting her too, because I don't ever want to say anything that's hurtful to you, because I did care about you. I care about your family and, and stuff like that. So I just basically disappeared, and there was no way for anybody to get in touch with me.
Oh, yeah. So if we're actually really going to go down what happened. So I remember when you blocked me, when it got really dirty, was when Nick posted a photo of you two.
And here's the thing. You didn't know in that moment, because as I'm actually thinking about it when I'm calm now, you didn't know in that moment that I already knew things you were saying to your family because you were hurt and felt abandoned by me. I already knew all those things, and you didn't know that I knew those things. Yeah. So when you messaged me that text message when you saw me with Nick, and we did not go together. We actually just ran into each other.
And Savannah, for me, sit on your damn hands or something.
What?
Sit on your hands.
Sorry.
Or something.
I look like a crack gun over here. Sorry.
It's bad, dude.
Sorry.
Phone and hands need to go under your ass.
But I've got my phone out for a reason.
Okay.
Yeah. When I ran into Nick, he took a picture and posted it. Okay. Well, I'd had 2 drinks times 6 probably. Okay. Because I was at Two Boots and I was dancing like I was not going to live tomorrow. And you texted me that text, probably being joking, loyalty at its finest or whatever.
I don't know.
I don't know if you were or not.
No, I was not joking. I was so
you were in your
hurt
feelings
because
too.
I had just lost you, and then it was like, oh, so now you're hanging out with Nick.
But I really wasn't. At that moment, Nick and I were not hanging out.
Yeah.
I just happened to run into him and he took a picture, but I was still cutting his hair and stuff, but we weren't hanging out. You know what I mean?
Also too, it's like, that was very immature of me, because as an adult, you don't get to have a relationship with someone and then when you're done with them, expect everyone else to be done with them.
Right.
And two, I'm so grateful that you and Nick got to become friends and had that relationship now looking back on it. But when I sent you that, and then you sent me a text back.
Oh, Jesus.
It was real long, drawn out, but we ain't going to go there.
We ain't going to go into the details
we got a little nasty with each other there. But then I said, because for anyone that knows me, if I've said something about somebody, you tell me what I've said, and I either said it or I didn't, but I'm not going to run from it. Right. But I did say, I would love for you to get me face to face with anyone who said I've talked shit about you. Get me face to face. If I ever said anything about you, then I've said it to you. I don't run from it. I've always loved you, and that has not and will not ever change. But you had already blocked me by that point.
I'd already blocked you, so I didn't even see it.
Oh, yeah, you didn't even see that. And then, so that was July 1st. Then July 16th, I text you again and said, life is too short. I love you. Right. Of course, still blocked.
But you didn't know you were blocked.
I mean, I knew I was blocked because it went through his screen.
It went through his screen. Yeah. And me and her already, we've talked about this.
And then July 30th, I sent you another text and said, I love you. Would love to get together for lunch next week if you're available. Mm-hmm. And then the next time we spoke was
when Nick
died.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Again,
and I reached out on Instagram too multiple times because I
had you restricted so I didn't even see the messages on Instagram until I unrestricted you and unblocked you, just so you know. Okay. It's going to make me seem like, and a lot of my exes will say when it first happened, not that we ever were romantic, but they will say, you're very cold. Well, I don't know why you did that. But later on, they'll thank me because it can get nasty and breakups can, whether there's a friendship or whatever, can get really dirty if you stay connected. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't want it to ever go there. That's why I did what I did. And once the emotions settle down, you can remember why you appreciated and loved that person in the first place.
Oh, without
and
a doubt.
Maybe think about what happened. But for me, when Nick and I did hang out that night, and that happened and I blocked you, then him and I started hanging out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really have a whole lot of other people that I was hanging out with consistently either.
Yeah.
And neither did he, because he was very involved in your family, and so was I.
Yeah.
We were probably the two most involved in your family,
sure.
hands down. And so he and I just kind of bonded over that, like what it was like to be part of your family, and to have the world judge us, you know, whether we were or were not in it, and all these things.
Easy.
So he and I became really close, and I am grateful for that moment, because I would never have known what would have happened.
This episode of Unlocked is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Most of you listening right now are probably multitasking. Yep, while you're listening to me talk, you're probably also driving, cleaning, exercising, or maybe even grocery shopping. But if you're not in some kind of moving vehicle, there's something else you can be doing right now. Getting an auto quote from Progressive Insurance. It's easy, and you could save money by doing it right from your phone. Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save nearly $750 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Discounts for having multiple vehicles on your policy, being a homeowner, and more. So just like your favorite podcast, Progressive will be with you 24/7, 365 days a year, so you're protected no matter what. Multitask right now. Quote your car insurance at progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, national average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June of 2022 and May of 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I've recently been daydreaming about maybe moving to a beach somewhere, completely going off grid, starting over, and living by the water, being able to take long walks on the beach, maybe meeting a surfer boy, who knows? But in order to make that happen, I have to find the perfect place to live, whether that's on the beach or in a small little town. Apartments.com makes it super easy. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And with instant alerts, you'll never miss out on seeing what could be your new perfect place. So make sure that you visit apartments.com to find your perfect place, whether it's in the city, a small beach town, whatever fits your mood for the day. I hope you find it. And I'm telling you, apartments.com, I'm hitting you up. I may be moving to the beach soon.
So that is really what happened and how we got to where we were.
It was literally me talking shit to a family member because I was hurt, and then that family member going and running their mouth, and that, I can tell you anything. Don't trust nobody. Don't trust family. Don't trust nobody.
Well, and here's the thing. Even when I unblocked her and she said, you get me in front of the people, again, I don't like to say who said what. I just, because I don't like to throw people under the bus, but I had said it.
Yeah.
And I knew it wasn't a lie because it came from family members, and I was like, okay, so, but, in hindsight, there probably should have been some conversations, but realistically there shouldn't have been, because neither one of us, I know you and you know me, neither one of us were in a mental headspace because we're in such trauma recovery over everything that had happened. I knew. So as much as it probably was painful, I knew that it needed to happen. The separation needed to happen.
Yeah.
So that time and space could heal what was happening between us.
Oh, for sure. And I think that, honestly, looking back, though, that probably was the best thing, because that first little while was freaking traumatic.
Yeah.
The whole thing. And there was, too, something... Because one of the things that was said was that I said that, like, Chad didn't help me or didn't do something or whatever it was. And I'm like, it made me so mad, because I was like, to anybody that will listen to me, I'm like, I don't know what I would have done without Chad that first, 3, 4, 6, however many months it was. Like, I'm like, I literally don't know what I would have done. Because like, I didn't have any help other than you. And so that was like, it was just certain things that were said that I was like, I wanted to correct it so fast. So I was like, that's not true.
Right.
Like I've publicly said it. I've said it to anyone that will listen.
Right.
And so that was so hard, but it's like I saw something and it was talking about like basically repairing friendships and like how, like you said, sometimes time has to pass. But it's also friendships, relationships. It's so easy to forget like all the good stuff. You know, like right when you're in the midst of it, it's so easy to just say like, oh, well, these are all the shitty things that have been done or said or whatever. But really when you take a second and you look back at like photos or memories or whatever, you're like, okay, it wasn't
bad. It wasn't bad until it was.
Yeah.
And for me, when it got bad, I didn't have anybody to blame but myself. Which is how it always is. And I'll be really honest, you know, I'm a lot older than you, even though I probably act younger than you sometimes, and I shouldn't, but
you do.
I'm
you
childish.
got more energy than I do.
Yeah, but I am older and I get frustrated with myself that I continue to put myself in situations. And again, I'm not saying it's a situation. I'm saying I do stuff again that even if people don't ask me, just for instance, you know, sometimes somebody will buy a house for me. I don't do this anymore, so don't come for me, Trek. But, you know, like, and they're like, I hate this carpet. And I'm like, I know how to put in floors. I'll tear up all your carpet and put floors in if you buy the material. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I have some things that have happened when I was younger that I feel like I need to do things for people to like me.
Yeah.
And I overdo. So I did that, but it was stuff that you wouldn't even ask me to do. And I felt like I was smothering, but it was me doing it to me. Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure. So, but do you think because of that, like, do you ever think you took it out on me at time? You know what I mean?
Potentially, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what happens.
Because I didn't deal with my emotions. Therefore, I would be angry or I would just be like, I don't know. I feel like when you were in such a traumatic place in life, you're like a zombie. Like you just try to, and then there are times where you say stuff that you're like, I don't even remember saying that.
I don't, because here's what happens. Again, I don't want to get into anything in my past because none of it is relevant and it's all fine now. But I had to compartmentalize a lot in my life to survive and to keep pushing forward. So I don't really deal with stuff. I'm just like, I got to keep going. I got to keep doing this. I got to do this. And there's times where I'm frustrated where I won't communicate it. I'll just kind of act a little distant or like that I'm checked out or something.
But that's
or
the thing, is we're
tired.
the same person.
Y'all literally are the same. Like y'all both have dealt with times feeling isolated, feeling like you have to compartmentalize to deal with things because you just got to put your head down, which is often why you guys don't recognize when you're allowing your own boundaries to be crossed because you're just in like compartmentalization mode. Get it done. Then it all hits you.
Right.
So you guys y'all have both been through things in your childhood that didn't give you a choice but to put it in a box and put it away.
Yeah. And I feel like it's hard though as an adult when that's how you were like grew up. It's hard as an adult to change that. Like it's very hard.
I mean, at my age, it's almost impossible. No, it's not impossible. Nothing's impossible.
Yeah.
But
it just gets harder.
Right. And I have gotten better through the years. But I even felt like, and you know this, Aaron, you know, even in relationships, I'll be like a month out of a relationship and already in another one.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I've never seen anything like it because you literally like plan their funeral and they are
right.
Bye.
I cry one day, block, delete, just like I do everybody else. And then I move on. And then a year later, unblock them. And then I'm cordial with all my exes because we never really had like a huge blow up and said things that we regretted. Same thing here. Yeah. But I'll say that even when I took the break from you guys for myself, but didn't communicate well, I did really take a break and deal with a lot of stuff emotionally and just things. I really beat myself up. And when I get in a very stressful place, I wound up making myself physically ill. Yeah. So, you know, I was even in the hospital last year like 4 times for the weirdest things possible that nobody would ever get. But the doctor eventually was like, I think you're just stressed out. And it was really just me going through stuff of, you know, because I loved you. I love you still and your family. And, you know, it was I was so involved with you guys in such a deep, emotionally connected way that I feel like family, maybe even more than even some of your family. But so when I did take a break, or felt like I was taking a break, and then things started transpiring and it just kept getting further and further apart, then I kind of was like, who am I really? I almost had like a identity crisis, right? Of like, who am I without them? Am I anybody without them? And I was somebody before I met y'all, and I am somebody. So that's what I've been working on. I've not been in a relationship since I broke up with Jonathan,
That is wild.
which is crazy. I've not been with anybody. So I really do feel like for the once in my life, I am trying to work on myself and having healthier boundaries so that I can have healthier friendships and relationships so that I don't lose myself in every single thing that I do. And it's okay to say no, and people will still love you.
Yeah.
You know
I
what
mean, and that's the tough part is like, I feel like, well, we're very similar. Like, literally everything that
person.
you just said it's spot on.
Yeah.
Y'all have spent a lot of time, I think, trying to make sure that no one has to feel the way that y'all felt in your darkest day.
Yeah.
So like how alone you guys have felt at certain times, not because you don't have mom, siblings, family that loves you, but because like people are people. So sometimes people aren't there for you when you need them because they didn't know or because they were spread too thin or whatever.
And we hold people to a standard that's unrealistic.
Well, you
like
definitely hold yourself to one. I mean, I don't know how much you expect other people to operate the way you do. I, in fact, don't think that either of you guys expect that. But when you find it, you don't want it to go anywhere because like y'all do for each other what like you've always done for other people.
Well, it's you and I've had this discussion. You've talked about in relationships, like when you date someone and like they show up for you, like no one's ever showed up for you before. But then you're like, at first you're like, no, like don't do that. And then you're like, okay, wait, this is really great. And then you go back to, well, are you just going to leave?
Yeah.
Are you just going to like make my life easier and me depend on you and then you just leave?
Yep.
And can I say this? When I left, again, didn't handle it the right way. When I left, it was very abrupt and da-da-da-da.
It sounds like y'all got a divorce.
Yeah, y'all, it literally was like a nasty
like
divorce.
one.
He just got the rest of his clothes. Like,
not too long ago.
I thought Savannah was going to sell them. I'm not going to lie.
like a few months ago?
Yeah, a
like,
few months ago.
Literally.
They almost ended up at Goodwill.
They did. They almost did.
I felt that they probably already were on fire.
No, I
I
almost like texted Chad like,
your shit's about to be on fire, bro. You better
I
go
didn't
get
do
it.
it because I was like, I ain't getting in the middle of this marriage, but I thought about it.
It was like a nasty divorce.
Yeah. So when I left, I'm just going to say, and this may not be it, but I felt like, again, when it's all happening, you don't have time to think about it because again, I have not been this close with somebody else and somebody else's family my whole life either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I feel like when I left and I left abruptly and you did talk, but you talked about it with people that were in your circle.
Like that I should have been able to vent to.
Right. But when I heard it, I should have known that it probably felt like another one of your people that left. And you probably thought that I was talking crap and doing things and da-da-da-da, when really I wasn't. I was just trying to survive, but you didn't know that. Yeah. Because I didn't communicate that.
Well, that's the thing is both of our lack of failure led to both of our lack of communication led to failure because it caused really more turmoil. Yeah. When in reality, if you would just, not you, but just like people in general, if we would just communicate it and say like, hey, this really hurt me, or this, can we talk about this?
I just feel like God has a timing for everything. And I just knew, again, and I'm not trying to say that it would have gone down this road. If there was not time and space, I think that we would have said things to each other that it would be a lot longer before we'd be sitting here.
If at all.
Yeah.
Because y'all do talk, y'all can get a little crazy, a little angry and most of your sadness or most of your anger, Savannah, yours comes from sadness. Chad, I think that's probably the same at its core for you. I think that's true of a lot of people. Yeah. But when y'all are sad translating to mad, y'all say some Y'all can say some hurtful stuff, but it's all as a defense mechanism. It's just like,
Aaron, y'all can say some hurtful stuff.
y'all don't really do it to
Listen,
me. Because
I got banned from Facebook for 5 years from putting something on somebody's wall publicly.
You did. I forgot about
I told
that.
them I was coming across the state line. I'm bringing a shovel and a lantern, and they wouldn't find them. And they were like, "You have threatened somebody, sir. You gotta get off Facebook." I was like, "Oh God." But you know, I'm just protective, and in that moment, I knew I would not have been protective. I knew conversations we would have had would not have been helpful.
Yeah.
Because you weren't in a headspace to deal with it. I definitely wasn't. I knew I wasn't.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, also,
as much as we should have, I think it happened how it was supposed to for us to be here as soon as we are.
Yeah. I also think, though, what really hurt me the most, really sitting back thinking on it, is like, not only did I feel like, you know, just abandoned, but like there was also Chloe and Gray.
I know.
And then like Mom, you know, she didn't hear from you for a little while. So it was like, but again, you were doing your own healing process.
And nobody knew it, but I wasn't communicating.
Yeah. And so I think that's why I got even angrier.
Right, and
was
I can see
because
that.
like, screw how I feel. You know, like I
Right.
just thought of, I don't know. It
Right.
was,
Well, and I've always been close with Grayson and Chloe.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I take Grayson to concerts and stuff before this. And, you know, me and Chloe, we went to school almost, you know, in the morning times. And, you know, I made it a party. And, you know, I would do her hair and stuff because you don't know how to do her hair, bitch, sometimes. But you know, but I felt bad. But I'm going to tell you again, and I'm apologizing because, and I want to apologize to them too. I did not have it in me to survive mentally to be able to be around because I couldn't separate being helpful and having healthy boundaries from my own life and myself. And I was in survival mode and I should have communicated it, but it just didn't happen.
all right. Clearly, we are like going over time. So is it okay if we divide this into 2 episodes, 2 parts?
Yep.
Because I feel like the second part's going to get a little bit more emotional than the first.
yeah, let's divide it here, and then we'll air the next part next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Unlocked. I'm so excited to have you, Dax. Welcome.
Man, it's your boy Dax, and we back at it like a bad habit. If you want something in this life, you better go grab it. And today, baby, we finna make a big play.
I love you called me and I was like, this is the most energetic human being.
Right. What did I say? Talk to me, don't lie to me.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening?
I gotta set the standard.
I like it. I like it. You have had huge success.
Thank you.
I mean, over 1 billion views on YouTube, which is insane.
Wild, right? That's how many millions is that? It's so if you get to 100 million, that's 100, and then times 10 of those.
I think so. Yeah.
It's wild when you really put it in perspective like that.
That is. It's
is wild.
insane.
Yeah.
And then okay, so I have to tell you. So I was like scrolling through Instagram or was it Instagram? No, it was Spotify, I think.
Wow.
And
People scroll on Spotify.
hey, okay, I love like New Music Friday.
Amazing.
Okay. So I saw the song with you and Darius Rucker. So it was on like the country New Music Friday.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was obsessed.
Wow.
Obsessed. Because I feel like, because it's to be a man.
Right.
And that we're in such a culture to where I feel like all that's been spoken about is women and how women feel, and not to like dismiss it because obviously I am a woman, but we don't speak enough about men and their mental health.
Right.
So I think it's...
Yeah, I think, you know, as a man growing up, we're sort of, you know, taught how to understand a woman because we have to understand one in order to, you know, get one, you know? So I think the song is sort of touching people because it is the first time sort of like it's bringing understanding for the other side in musical form and like a whole thought process.
So what brought that song about? Like what inspired you? Was there any personal story that inspired you to write this?
Yeah, there's a lot of personal attachment to the song. Like first of all, being a man and spending now 29 years on earth in a man form, you know, which is me. Shout out to everybody in between and on each side. So like I always tell people, I couldn't have wrote the song when I was 25 years old. But now that I'm 29, there's more things I have to deal with, more responsibilities I have, more people I have to take care of. And I'm starting to now feel, and not only feel, but understand, like looking at my father, like how he felt. So the song is really just like one of those songs that it took me my whole life to write, because I had to actually experience what it was like to be a man. And I couldn't have wrote it at 19.
Yeah.
There was no one I had to look out for or take care of.
Were you at all scared to release that song?
I wouldn't say so. I think, there's a lot of, like you said, it's sort of a big topic right now, man, woman. I tell people this all the time. The relationship between a man and a woman is the most important thing in the world. Why? Because that's how me and you are even here, because a man and a woman decided to have us. Therefore, by process of elimination, that's the most important thing in the world. So I think the topic is huge, because who you decide to make another human with is the most important decision you make.
Without a doubt.
Right. So to me, coming off of your question, I didn't really have much fear, because I knew I wasn't attacking anybody in my song. And like, for example, there's a bunch of women who had heard the song before I put it out, and a lot of them were moved to tears.
I was, because when I heard it, because you speak in it just about how men are expected to be a provider. They're expected to show up. They're expected to do all these things, and never really is someone like, but are you okay?
Right.
It's just, there's this expectation that's just oh, that's just what you do.
Right.
That's just what you do. It's just like with women, oh, you have kids. That's just what you do.
Right.
But people don't take into consideration the aftermath of what you do.
Exactly. It's crazy, because I have a song actually called Dear Mom.
Okay.
And every time I make a song that's important to me, I completely and wholeheartedly dive into the subject. So I remember there was a time when I made my song called Dear Mom, and what I'll do is I'll really start doing research on what it's like to be a mother. So I started following all these accounts about motherhood, and then that's when I found out about postpartum and all these different crazy things. And I was like, wow, so you saying that, okay, sometimes women don't understand what men go through, and then on the other side, we don't understand what you go through, really connected with me right there.
That's awesome. I mean, when I heard it, and too, I will say, when I heard it, when I heard your song, it kind of put me in my place a little bit.
Uh-oh. Yep.
Because I was like, I expect a man to do all these different things. But I believe that you can have expectation while at the same time checking in and caring about a man's emotional state.
Right.
And I think that's where we get it wrong. We have expectation without caring about how that expectation weighs on someone.
And then even what rhymes with expectation? Appreciation. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing. I think, sometimes people may hear the song and be like, oh, it's not that, I don't think men want sympathy, because if anything, that probably makes, men feel worse. It's more just respect and appreciation for what it is. It's I see you.
That's the biggest thing. That phrase in itself, I see you.
Right.
That's all that people want, is to be seen, and not for what they do.
Right.
That's awesome. And so you also, I feel like your songs hit on very real issues that maybe not a lot of people speak on, because you have a song that talks about being an alcoholic.
Right.
And so what was the inspiration behind that one?
You want the full story?
Yeah, I want the full story.
Here we go. So there's so many stories, long-winded stories. So alcohol for me. So I go back to, I was born in 1994. Okay. 1994, baby. Newfoundland, St. John's, Newfoundland. I was born on a rock. You can't even drive there. You got to fly there.
Okay.
I was there for 8 months. Left to Ottawa, the capital of Canada. I'm from Canada.
Okay.
11 years old, I find the law of attraction. Anything you think about manifests, positive or negative. Me being 11 years old, curious, I want to test it out. I think about my favorite car. The video was called The Secret, by the way, for anybody who wants to go and watch that. It'll change your life. I think about the BMW 3 Series. All of a sudden, I start noticing that car is everywhere. So as an 11-year-old, I think I found a superpower. So then I make the decision I want to become a basketball player. So what does that involve? Okay, who do I look up to? For me, it was Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. What's specific about them that I like? Their work ethic, their mindset, the mentality. Kobe, the mentality. So I commit my whole life to basketball, each and every single thing. I'm doing 6 hours a day, waking up early, 5 a.m., the workouts, all of it. 666, no devil affiliation there, but that was what Kobe had, is to work up the 6 hours. It was the 666. So that involved me shunning every single thing that had to do with having fun in high school. So I was very antisocial in high school. I didn't do anything. I just worked on my game because I was trying to get out of Canada. Okay. So finally, I become the best basketball player in my city, in Ottawa. You know, won a national championship, all the great stuff. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can like rest now. So I hadn't drinking or been to a party up until 17 years old.
That's awesome.
Right. So 17 years old, I decided to go to my first ever party. Right.
Also, too, I love how I say that's awesome when, like, obviously it's illegal to not drink till you're 21, but you don't hear about that. I feel like it's starting earlier and earlier, but continue.
Right. So I decided to go to my first party. So me being a guy who's always in my head and I think everything. I'm like, you know what? I see what some of my friends do when they drink. So I want to see what type of drinker I am. Because I had some friends, they drink and they fight. You know, some are drinkers and they're lovers. You know, there's all these different types of things people do have an affinity to once they start drinking. So I'm like, what am I? So I sit in my basement and I grab a Heineken. I look at the Heineken. I'm like, okay, Daniel, that's my real name.
Okay. See, look, we're taking it back. I love it.
This is your first drink, bud. So I open up the Heineken, start drinking. I notice immediately that I was blinking. That was the first thing I noticed. Oh, wow, I blink. That's crazy. We're blinking all the time, but we don't even realize it.
Yeah.
So I was having a head rush. So I ended up going to this first party in high school, and I was super social. As someone who was shy, you know, I was social. I was talking to everybody, you know, hitting on girls, doing everything, but no one had knew I had been drinking. I just did it by myself at my house, in my basement. So then at that age, 17, I'm like, wow, this is like a superpower for me. I can have a little bit of this, be tipsy or drunk or whatever, and then I'm super social, and it brings out this person in me that I want to become. So now it's a 10-year process of trying to, like I say in the song, I've been chasing the man that I am when I start to drink. So now I'm chasing this super confident guy and seeing if I could like become him all the time. So it was easy to regulate when I was in high school and in college because I played basketball. And,
so you only had so much time.
Exactly. Pretty much drinking on the weekends.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden as a junior, I write my first poem that turns into music. And then I finally, you know, make the decision to become a music artist after poetry. And then it was like, okay, well now there's no umbrella of safety of life. There's no work during the week. And then it's like every day's Saturday.
The life of a musician.
Right. Every day's Saturday. So I go on my first tour with Tech Nine. I'm drinking before every show. Then I do my first own tour, Canadian and American. That goes by. Pandemic hits. And then all of a sudden I wake up one day and I'm like, damn, when was the last time I haven't drank 2 days in a row? And I didn't know. And then Dear Alcohol all of a sudden came to me.
Do you still drink?
So when I first dropped Dear Alcohol, I was 6 months sober.
Okay.
Went on my first vacation ever, had a couple shots tequila. But I always knew, I was like, okay, the biggest battle for me is going to be going on tour and not drinking, which I failed at. I drank before my show. I need a couple shots tequila before you go up there in front of, you know, now hundreds of people. Yeah. You know? So I've now, you know, taken away the perpetual cycle of drinking every day. Mind you, I was never a blackout drinker. I'm the type to like drink and do push-ups and like it sort of adds just like at my everyday tedious work and stuff like that. But I'm no longer in the perpetual cycle. Like I can like.
Okay. Do you think, obviously you got to a place where you were like, all right, I don't need to be drinking anymore.
Right.
So do you think you'll get back to that place?
Right.
Do you think now you're drinking, like you said, to chase that person you want to be?
So it sort of ties back to being a man, you know, in like that, in the original song, I say in the first, as a man, we got to pave our way. There's no respect for you if you ain't paid. So it's like now that I feel like I've done more for myself, I feel like I no longer need to be the nervous one when I walk into a room. It's sort of like switched where it's like people are more nervous. Self-confidence. I feel definitely. I think with accomplishment, I feel more sure about myself than I would, you know, back when I was 18. Yeah. Or 17.
Without a doubt.
So I don't need it in situations because I don't feel the nervousness I used to feel. I'm sort of aware that now, like you know, in most instances, people are potentially more nervous meeting me.
Yeah.
You know,
I see that.
that's just complete transparency, you know?
No, I love that though, because even hearing that song, like I heard it and I instantly thought of people in my life, you know, that I'm like, I literally see. And two, it also made me take a step back once again. And instead of being judgmental, you're like, whoa, this may be how this person feels.
Right.
And so it does give you a different perspective on how to look at things.
Right.
And obviously in a lot of your songs, I was curious when going through your profile, was it you that labeled yourself as a Christian artist, or did other people label you as that and it stuck?
That's sort of what other people have labeled me as. I've always said to myself, like, I call my genre of music impact. So it's like,
I love that.
I never know what a song's going to sound like when I step into the studio. I hear the beat and I do what comes naturally. And then I allow people to sort of classify it. I haven't, obviously, I know, you know, what some people are going to do or where they're going to put it based off of how I'm sounding. But it's like I could go in there and, you know, I've screamed on songs before. Sometimes I've rapped fast as ever. You know, other times I've sung nice and slow. I got wasted and goes out, you know, so I don't mind where people put it. I know we as humans, like, community is strong and big. So there's, you know, we got communities of everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, I am a Christian. I'm not a Christian music artist. I'm a music artist who's a Christian.
Okay. See, and I think that's the biggest misconception, because a lot of people label you as a Christian music artist.
Right.
And then you have some of your songs that come out that obviously have cuss words in it. And people are like, oh, wait, I thought you were a Christian music artist. This episode of Unlocked is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Most of you listening right now are probably multitasking. Yep, while you're listening to me talk, you're probably also driving, cleaning, exercising, or maybe even grocery shopping. But if you're not in some kind of moving vehicle, there's something else you can be doing right now. Getting an auto quote from Progressive Insurance. It's easy, and you could save money by doing it right from your phone. Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save nearly $750 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Discounts for having multiple vehicles on your policy, being a homeowner, and more. So just like your favorite podcast, Progressive will be with you 24/7, 365 days a year, so you're protected no matter what. Multitask right now. Quote your car insurance at progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June of 2022 and May of 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. How do you respond to people that come at you with the judgment of using a cuss word here or there in a song?
That's a good question. I would say, you know, first and foremost, like probably like the last like 6 or 7 songs haven't had those, like from Dear Alcohol, Depression, To Be a Man, God's Eyes, Life. Most of them haven't had those. That was sort of like more before. But I would say, you know, I think it's interesting. I've always said it's like, okay, when was the, you know, the B word? You know, I was talking about this with my friend. I was like, the B word came in like the late 1800s, you know?
Okay.
So in my brain, as someone, I consider myself a logical thinker, you know, there's always going to be a continuation of new curse words that come to the forefront, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, when the Bible was talking about, and I already know they're going to come at me with that. So, for example, what's the difference between me calling someone a name, but then actually cursing their life? Is it like if I look at a child and I go, you are never going to be anything. You are a terrible human being. You will never amount to anything. That's a curse.
I agree with that.
Or if I just look at, you know, I'm joking with the child. Hey,
Yeah.
So I think there's a line there that people need to really think about in terms of what cursing really means. I think in the Christian community, it's very easy to point at people when they curse because it is the most like, it's on the surface.
Yeah.
Like, I see you did that, so you're bad. Whereas, like, same person, you know, is going home and doing what God knows what behind closed doors.
See, that's why I always say that. It's easy to point the finger at someone else, but take a step back and look at your life
Right.
and what you're doing. And so, because I did see a lot of judgment come your way with using curse words. And I was like, it was kind of, to me, I was like, okay, you have this judgment, and then like, how are you judging someone for saying just the judgment itself?
Right. And here's my thing. I don't mind. For example, I don't try to use curse words.
Yeah.
You know, I think in my earlier days, like people always say, oh, like I think it's not hard to not use them. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm more aware and I'm getting older as a man, and I'm thinking like, okay, I don't need to say that there. I could just replace that with this. Whereas back in the day, I was more impulsive. You know, I would drink more. So it's like once I record, I was like, no, I'm not going back. That's what it is. But now it's like, I don't really mind.
But that's the thing. That shows growth.
Right.
And that's what I don't like. Being a Christian too is not about, hey, I'm going to do everything perfectly. It's about, hey, I'm going to be imperfect. I'm going to learn through those imperfections and become better.
Right.
And that's the hardest thing for me. It's just like seeing the judgment of people. It's crazy. And to also the fact that you didn't label yourself as a Christian music artist. That label was placed upon you, which I feel like had to have added some stress or expectation to you that you didn't ask for.
Well, me personally, as a competitive guy, I love pressure. Pressure builds diamonds. So I don't mind it. You know what I mean? I think I like the challenge of, you know, not cussing in songs. You know, like my biggest songs have no cuss words now. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, what are people going to say? Yeah. You know, so it's like, I don't have to cuss. I never tried to. It was more just a form of expression. But I challenge people to really think about that. What is a curse? Because I think you can curse people in multiple ways.
I love that. And I didn't think of it that way. And so with a lot of your music obviously does have God in it, or talks about the struggle with God, the devil, whatever it may be. And what led you to such a deep conviction that you started to write about it and sing about it? Oh man,
once I popped out the womb. Really, I had no choice. Once I popped out the womb, my mom, like, I have like holy water. I have all, like, everything you can think of. My mom is an amazing woman, you know, first and foremost. Her and my dad are great. And she's like all in to God, like, since I came out the womb. So it's like, people always ask, oh, did you, because I made this song called Dear God, where I asked multiple questions that I think most believers would have through like the course of their life.
And what were those questions?
I could recite the whole song for you. Dear God, there's a lot of questions that I have about the past. I don't want to hear from a human. You made it. There's a lot of questions in there. Tell me what's real. Tell me what's fake. Why is everything about you a debate? What's the point of love? Every time I showed it, I was broken, and it's forced me to want to hate. Why is there only one you but multiple religions? Why does every conversation end in a division? Why does everybody want to tell us how to live, but they won't listen to the same dang message that they're given? Tell me how to feel. Tell me what's wrong. I tried to call, pick up the phone. I'm on my own. Everybody says you're coming back, then why the hell is it taking so long? Why do I hurt? Why is there pain? Why does everything good always have to change? Why does everybody try? It just keeps going, questions upon questions upon questions.
And those are questions that everyone has, and they're afraid to ask. Right.
But they've asked them, though, because if you said them in your mind, God knows the heart, mind, and the soul, so you've asked them. Mm-hmm. But I think this song voiced it for people and allowed them to be like, okay, there's other people who think the same.
They realized it was okay to ask those questions, and that they were not alone.
Yes, ma'am.
So was that song therapeutic for you?
It's crazy because like back to, you know, where my faith came from. It came from, like, you know, my mother and her strong belief. So I've never personally had a thought that God wasn't real. I see God as like, and, you know, God, you know, Jesus Christ, all these things. I see the Bible as just like logically it makes sense to me. So I've never had a question whether or not it was real or not. Mm-hmm. But I know, you know, growing up, I've had conversations with, you know, now so many people. So I knew that song was going to be important because I know people ask these questions and go through it, you know, especially depending on, you know, some people have harder backgrounds and stuff like this. So that causes people to question God.
And have you had people come to you that know that you have such a strong conviction? Like you just said, you're a logical thinker. So all of this makes sense to you. Right. And like I say this I grew up private Christian school my whole life. My grandfather's Southern Baptist minister. Like, I grew up in it.
Right.
So what do you say to people that are like, okay, that's logical to you, but none of this makes sense to me. I don't believe in this.
So I started like this, you know, depending on what they're wearing, what they're holding, what they're driving. I say, okay, who made that? You know, oftentimes they'll give me like, you know, a manufacturer or this, like the brand. I'll say, okay, well, who made that? 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 And I say, okay, well, we as humans accept there's a creator of everything, this microphone, chair. So why wouldn't there be a creator of the most intricate thing ever built, which is the human body? Not to mention the, you know, 40,000 plus different species that all recreate, you know, life as well. And then you have plants and all. Like, how could there not be, logically, someone who put it all together?
And what if they respond and say, all right, it's science?
I just say there's no, it's if you're going to accept that somebody made the iPhone, which is nowhere near on the level of the human eye, then you have to accept that somebody made that as well. In my opinion.
See, I love your way of thinking, and I'm over here playing devil's advocate, and it's killing me because I believe what you believe, but it's just so many people, and that's what I hope they can listen to your music and take something from it and start asking questions, because it's okay to ask questions. That's where you learn. Is.
And a belief in nothing is still a belief in something. So then I go, well, why not at least, you know, if you might as well, like, you know, it's like, let's say, you know, you're a gambler. Well, at least put, you know, your cards on your money over here. Yeah. Because at least it's something.
At least it's something.
Right.
That, I love that. So how did To Be a Man, how did the collab happen with Darius Rucker?
So I have amazing people on my team that knew amazing people on his team.
I love him, by the way. I love you now too, but like, I love him. So that, I mean, because that was amazing.
It's amazing. It's crazy. I've only been listening to Darius Rucker songs for like the last probably month and a half since the verse came in.
Okay.
You know, so it's like I've really been diving deeper into it, and just like, because I engulf myself in every single thing I do, and it's like, so there's people on my team and people on his team. He heard the song, he loved it. Then I went to his show, and that was great. Got to meet him, went on the bus, backstage, all of it. You know, it was just great. We hit it off. It's my boy, you know.
I love that because it was, I mean, and to what, you already have over 3 million views. I want to say like 3 million views on YouTube.
We're getting there. We're getting pretty close to that.
Yeah, which is crazy. Within how many days? Or
it's been about 10 days now.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And so, okay, so one of the, I gotta pull up my phone because you did a song.
Talk to me.
That was very
I think I know what you're about to pull. I think did I was it a remix?
Yes, and it was.
I know what you're about to say.
I posted it on my story.
Oh man.
Yes.
Is it the Toxic remix?
No, not that one. No.
Oh, this one. I thought you were talking. I thought.
No.
That was controversial?
Yes.
Wow. I missed it.
Very controversial.
Dang.
Like, because it's the, who sings this original song? Oliver Anthony.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the song called?
Richmond, north of Richmond.
Okay. Yeah. So when that song came out, obviously that was very controversial. And then you did a remix to it, which I loved.
Thank you.
I loved because it says everything that we all want to say, but we're too afraid to say it. And how did that remix come about? Like, how did you...
How did that come about? There's been a couple. So I've remixed songs for a very long period of time.
Yes.
Like when I started the first thing I ever remixed, September 1st, 2016 was my first time. First song I ever dropped was a remix to Drake, One Dance.
Okay.
So I've remixed things periodically throughout my career. As I continue to grow, I've remixed less and less and less. So now it's just like when something is like compelling to me and I felt the overall importance of this song, I felt as though what he was talking about in his original song, I lined up with in terms of views, and that I could expound upon it with words.
Okay.
So.
And did you, when you heard that song, because obviously, I mean, he has been offered insane deals. He, for people that don't know, you can look it up, Richmond, north of Richmond. And it's, I mean, it spoke to millions and millions and millions of people.
Right.
And then when you remixed it, you basically, like, you spoke about youth and kind of how it all starts with the youth, which I have said before, like, children are what you leave behind.
Right.
So what you teach them leaves an impression.
Right.
And how did you come up with that remix?
How did I
because
come
you
up with
talk
it? So-
about what we're teaching them in schools and how they're able to make decisions when they can't even tie their own shoes.
Right.
And so
how did I come up with that song? So every song comes to me. I sit there and the words just start coming to me. That's how every song comes about. In terms of the thought process that came in line with the youth talking about, I think about this all the time. So some people be like, okay, well, what do you mean, it starts with the youth, right? So the more money people make, the longer out they think. Let's go back to the very beginning. Someone who's has zero money, or let's say, quote unquote homeless, is thinking about, what am I doing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Where am I sleeping tomorrow? What am I eating tomorrow? As you make more money, you expound upon how long you think about. So someone who makes $1 billion isn't thinking about tomorrow. They're thinking about generations. So where do you go? You go to the youth, right? Because you're understanding that, like, okay, I'm not even thinking about now. I have so much money. A month from now doesn't matter.
No.
2 months doesn't matter. I'm thinking about generation upon generation upon generation. So that's how I had the thought process of, okay, it starts with the youth.
I love that, because now when I start thinking of it, you think about, like, the iPhone. You think about how they're looking to get to people 100 years from now.
Right. It's not about now. It's you got $1 billion. Tomorrow doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
okay,
I heard
let me change generations.
100%. I mean, I heard that. And when you're talking about the youth, like, I think of Chloe and I'm like, all right, what are we teaching these kids in school? What are we? And because people have, like, hounded me before for certain beliefs and things that I've said and done. And my thing is, it's not about, like, left or right. It's about humanity, and it's about setting people up for success and for the future and all these things, and just letting kids be kids.
Right.
And that's what you said. You were like, let's let kids be kids.
Right. Well, I start the song essentially talking about, it's not about what side it's about. For me, it's always been common sense. I'm not someone who, partakes necessarily in, like, political views. I just partake in common sense. I feel like
to you, it's common sense. Because
I do think there are
on both sides, they would be like, but that's not common sense if they don't agree with you.
That's one of the problems. I think there are certain things that are not subjective.
Yeah.
Like the sky is blue.
Yeah. That is accurate.
But I think if I'm the one person sitting right here and there's 5 people around me and they continuously for years upon years upon years upon years shout at me saying the sky is green, eventually I'm just gonna be like, all right, leave me alone. The sky's green. It's green. But now we're all saying it's green, and then that goes to my kid, and I'm telling my kid, well, you know what? I don't want them shouting at you, so you better say it's green too. So they leave you alone because I want you to be chill and I want you to have a good life. And then that just goes and goes and goes. So I think that's where we're at in society. It's like there are certain things that I believe aren't subjective, but there's just people who are continuously yelling, it's this, it's this, it's this. So then this person just like, well, I just want peace.
I have seen that time and time again of people that are just like, well, I was just tired of being bullied, or I was tired of people coming at me, and I was tired, so I just folded.
Right.
And that's like a place in my life right now to even personally, it's like I speak up heavily on prison reform and our corrupt system, and people are like, you should stop. Like, and I'm like, I'm not. Like, I'm going to stand for what's right, and what's wrong needs to go.
Right.
And it's just, that's the time that we're at, is I feel like we need to be stronger in our convictions. And I don't care if I would rather have 5 good people around me than 1,000 people who just want me to believe what they want me to believe.
Right. Yeah, because we're right near the end. In terms of, like, the advancement in technology that has happened within the last 60 years, like, we got flying cars now. The last thing is teleportation. once if they figure out teleportation, then God's back.
He's back.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
So it's like I feel like we're there, you know. So yeah, it's crazy time. That's why I'm not a political guy, but I just know common sense, and I can, if something is like, I could just that's not right, and that's not going in a good direction.
Yeah.
And no one's benefiting from that. So.
But I love that because you speak about it in such a way that, like, in your music, I feel like I'm taking something good away from it. I feel like it's making an impact. I feel like people are listening.
That's my word. Impact.
Impact.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel like people, and right now, more than ever, people are searching for something to believe in.
Right.
And I feel like just since the past few years, like, everyone's been lost. No one knows which way to turn, and they just want something to hold on to.
That's powerful.
Just
That's
something.
powerful.
And that's why it's like I'm listening, and like I said, To Be a Man that you did with Darius Rucker, I was listening to it, and I was like, that it gives a different perspective. And me as a woman, I'm like, men don't always have to be strong.
Right.
They don't always have to provide. They don't always have to be expected to do these things. And if you do expect it, then you need to check in. Like, you need to appreciate it. You need to men's mental health is a big thing.
Right.
And that's, people just don't bring enough awareness to it.
Right. Powerful. Yeah, I think what you were saying in terms of like and the thing is, like, really, it's like, you know, quote unquote, good men want to do those things.
Yeah.
But they also want to be appreciated for those things. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, we want to do those things. We just want to feel like our efforts are being appreciated.
So what, for women listening, as a man sitting here that wrote this song,
Okay, talk to me.
what does appreciation look like in your eyes?
What does appreciation look like? Appreciation looks like not continuously moving the goalpost. You know, so it's like, okay, I'm doing this but sometimes once you start doing something consistently, it becomes expected. And once it becomes expected, now you're expected, okay, well, what's next? So it's almost like not consistently moving that goalpost on the man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you've been doing it, like, it still means something to me.
And chances are, if you're, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're being appreciated, you're moving the goalpost yourself.
Right. Yeah, I think it's because I truly believe that, like, you know, when like a man truly loves a woman, he wants to give her the world. There's absolutely no doubt, and that's his goal. You know, the only thing that I think changes a man's feeling is when he feels like his efforts are going unnoticed, and then he becomes jaded. So I think, just like I said, not moving the goalpost all the time, you know, reassurance, you know, listening to understand. I think that's a big thing.
I have always said that. I'm like, we live in a world to where we listen to respond, not understand.
Right. That, a big thing, just, you know, as men, like, you know, letting a man finish his sentences, you know, like, these are like little things, but it's like those types of things where it's like, where you step into a space and you're like, you know, that, like, you know, you and your woman are on the same accord, and that, like, it's, you know, it's like stuff like that, I think, is like very small things, but that, like, men truly appreciate.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's good. Like, because for me, I'm like, I don't have a right to tell you that that's not valid, or that's not. And I think I'm trying to, because I'm very independent, like, very independent. I do my own thing. I provide for myself. I do all these things. But I also want to be, like, vulnerable and want to be submissive and want to do all these things. And I feel like a lot of women are like, well, if I'm submissive, then that means that I'm not strong. When in reality, it's totally different. You can be strong and submissive at the same time.
Right.
And by not being submissive, a lot of times it does have the tendency to emotionally hurt a man.
Right. Yeah, I think, like, you know, these are tough conversations. You know, this is a great conversation right now, and I think it's crazy because I think, like, most men, like, even like right now, I feel like I'm sort of walking on eggshells. You know what I mean? In terms of, like,
and
you don't want to say some
so
crazy.
Sad.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know what I mean? I think it's crazy. I think that's why the song is so important, because it voices that without me having to, like, you know, go on these, like, big explanations.
Yeah.
But I think it's like, even just, I know a lot of women get triggered by the word submissive. You know, I guess in my mind, I just think it's like, at the end of the day, it's like,
I look at it from a godly perspective,
Right.
of a woman is to be submissive to her husband as a husband is to his wife.
right. I think, yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, like I said, a man, you know, putting his life on the line, you know, trying to provide for family is, in my opinion, a term of submissiveness.
Yes, without a
you
doubt.
are sacrificing your life, your happiness, and in order to make sure these people are good. So, yeah, I agree.
And that's the thing. It's like this podcast, when I started it, I was like, I want it to be a safe space for tough conversation.
Right.
Doesn't mean we have to agree, but learning where someone came from, what their life experience is, like that shaped their opinions and beliefs.
Right.
So it's valid and
It is.
respect it. Even if we don't agree, respect it, because that's who someone is.
Right.
And I hope that that's how people take it, because it's just, that's what it is.
Right. And you want to know what's crazy? Is like, one thing until I started writing poetry and making music, like people would think I'm this like master communicator.
Yeah.
You know, but like in reality, I've never been that good at actually just like sitting, like communicating how I feel and all this stuff to an actual person in front of me. But once I started writing poetry and making music, my life changed, because then I was able to then do that. So it's like, I think a lot of men feel like I do right now having this conversation. We're just like, oh, I don't want to say this, I don't want to say that, da da da. That's where the song comes in.
Yeah.
Because it speaks.
But I think too, as a woman, I hate that men feel like they have to walk on eggshells in order to not offend me, because I would rather, and it's just my own point of view, I would rather know exactly where you're at,
Right.
emotionally, psychologically, and be offended, and have the chance to say, hey, what you said really did hurt me, and this is why.
Right.
And give you the chance to correct it. And that's where growth comes from.
Right.
And you're never going to truly know who someone is if they feel like they have to walk on eggshells.
Right. But I also say that a lot of the men feeling like that comes from like past experience of trying that out and it not being successful, and, you know, dealing with, you know, their counterpart who may say they want them to do these things, and when they actually do and try it,
it's World War III.
they don't get the response that they thought they were getting. So I think it's like, you know, you have this like passing down of men, especially now with the influx of social media, where they're going like, hey, you know, she's saying to be vulnerable, but once you do, understand it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, I think, you know, every man goes through this phase in life where it's like, okay, they finally listen to the girl. Okay, I'm gonna just let it all out. I'm gonna be emotional. I'm gonna let it out, and I'm gonna speak my feelings, and then all of a sudden, they don't get the response that they thought they were gonna be getting, so then they become hardened.
So it's a letdown. It's like you got your hopes up that like, oh, I can finally be open and honest and vulnerable. But also too, I feel like it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah.
You know, like, because it's harder for men to be vulnerable because you've always been told you're not allowed to be.
Right.
You're supposed to be strong. And that's where your song comes from.
Right.
It's like you're always told you can't be these things because you have to be the protector.
Right.
You have to be the provider. When in reality, you're a hell of a lot better of a protector when you teaching your kids it's okay to be vulnerable. It's
Right.
okay to talk about how you feel. It's okay to deal with these things.
But I also want you to think about it like this. So on one spectrum, as men, we're always being told we have to be providers and all these different things, so we don't want to express our emotions. But there's also the side where the women are also being told that men are supposed to do this as well.
Yes.
So it's like, I always tell people like this, right? People literally commit crimes, then they get a defense lawyer, knowing they're guilty, to defend them.
Yep.
And everyone, like, both, they know they're guilty, but I'm still, so it's like, sometimes I tell my boys, it's like, well, women are always going to say, I want you to be vulnerable, because saying that otherwise doesn't sound good. Because as men have been taught not to feel, do these things, express your emotions, the women have been told men shouldn't be like that. So it sounds great for you guys to say out loud, oh, be vulnerable, be this, be that, but your actual programming like ours isn't built for that.
Isn't, yeah.
So once the man does, That's why
we don't know how to react.
Exactly. But obviously, like, you know, defense law, I committed a murder, but I'm defending me and I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So it's you guys. It's like, my whole upbringing, lifestyle, Disney movies, everything that's in the culture has told me men are supposed to be like this. Out loud, I'm gonna say, be vulnerable, But once it actually happens, you're not ready for it.
But that's so true. It's what society is teaching you, that like a man is supposed to, it's the Disney movies.
Right.
A man is supposed to rescue you and fix it and do all these things. You don't see a Disney movie about a woman rescuing a man. Like you don't, it's just not what it is.
Right.
But do you think that now it kind of goes back to the remix that you did about how it starts with children.
Right.
If we start to normalize, which I feel like in the past few years, like mental health has become more normalized. Like it's okay to not be okay. So if we start with the youth and with boys saying like, well, how do you feel today? And normalizing that do you believe there could be change?
Do I believe there could be change? I look at myself and I don't think I would be who I was if I was super emotional. Like I don't necessarily think it's a positive for men to be super emotional. I don't.
It's kind of a double-edged sword.
It's a double-edged sword. I think like like I'm happy the way I was, like, you know, and I would want, you know, my son to sort of be the same way. I think it's more about just like I made the song for understanding. Like so like it's not that we want to be more emotional. It's just that we want
to understand how
woman,
I am.
right, the woman we care about to understand what we're going through.
Okay.
But we don't want to cry. We don't want to, because that makes us feel weak.
But why do you not? But if you're writing a song about, hey, like I want you to know how I feel.
Right.
And how I feel is all these negative things because of expectation.
Right.
You want us to know, but you don't want us to fix it.
Because you can't fix it. We have to bear it. We just want you to understand. Understanding is the key to communication. We can speak all we want, but if we're not understanding, nothing's being accomplished.
Okay.
So the song isn't for sympathy, it's for understanding. This is what we go through, understand. So maybe next time when you want to, you know, go off on this tirade, you can just be like, you know what? Maybe not today.
Maybe not today.
You know what I mean? Just for understanding.
I love that though. Like, because I love getting different points of view and I love sitting across from you and being like, okay, that actually makes sense.
Right.
You know? That's awesome. Okay, so what's next for you?
What's next for me? More songs that impact people's lives. I'm just warming up. I have so many, you know, that I'm excited to release. It's just sort of now I have to like take time because I want each one to like actually get to the people. So, you know, you promote it and you do all these things, and yeah, just more music and reach more people. I don't have any goals that are outside of my control.
Okay.
I know how, you know, the music and the industry works, and, you know, it's people pushing buttons and blah,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. So all I'm focused on is like getting to more people with the music, and whatever comes with that, God is good.
I love that because clearly it's happening. And too, I'm blessed that Instagram put you on my
Shout out
feed
to
and
IG,
Spotify and all the things. I'm blessed because I truly do feel that more people need music like yours that speaks to people and that touches on topics that we're scared to touch on.
Right.
And like there's things that I believe that you speak about and I'm like, oh, I'm afraid to, but you're like reposting your song. It's my way of speaking it,
Right.
just not speaking it.
Exactly.
You know?
That's why I love music, man. It's really blessed my life. You know, I was always like a very angry child, but I always changed my anger into like motivation to work harder.
But where did that
was-
anger come from?
I just think anger is such a great thing. Anger can, you know, if used the right way, can really motivate you to achieve great things. So the anger for me always came from feeling like, you know, people didn't, you know, respect me, what I was doing, the work I was putting in. It's from all different angles.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of, there's some things I'm taking to my grave, but, you know, it came from a lot of different places, you know.
But that's what life is. I feel like what you're doing now, it's like I talk about it. There's been a ton of things that's like you said, like I'll take it to the grave. But like if you can take your anger and learn how to deal with it effectively,
Right.
which I feel like is what you're doing now. Like music for me has always been therapy.
Right.
Now I have no musical talent, but listening to music, like I would get in my car at 16 and just drive, just drive and listen to music. 'Cause I felt like it was the only thing that got me. And so I feel like what you're doing now is taking that anger and like impacting people's lives with it.
Amen.
So it didn't go to waste.
It didn't, right? Yeah, I'm blessed. I found it at 22, so yeah, God is good, man.
I love it. Well, thank you for just showing up today and having
problem.
tough conversation. And I could talk to you forever. So
Thank you.
thank you.